For 100 years, a stone statue ranked globally as a demon-level threat has sat right in the middle of the plaza. In all that time, not a single soul has dared to take even one step closer to it. But the very second you laid eyes on it, you walked right up, dropped to your knees, and bowed your head to the ground 3 times. And that simple action? It terrified the entire nation so badly that they threw the country into emergency martial law overnight. The Beacon Nation even threatened to wipe you out with a nuclear strike. All because the global arena of national destiny had just descended upon the world. The winners get to conquer lands and steal the losers' national destiny. The losers? They face apocalyptic natural disasters, or total annihilation. You originally thought Washa would absolutely dominate the top ranks, relying on its thousands of years of deep cultural heritage. But to your absolute shock, the Washa Empire of this world strictly pushed atheism. It got to the point where the citizens completely forgot about their own native mythological gods. Because of this, trying to awaken those ancient, dust-covered mythological statues? It's practically impossible. Right now, in the Awakening Plaza of Washa's Jiao City, every kid who turns 16 gets the chance to awaken their powers through the Gate of Creation. Inside that gate, there are countless ancient beings. But to connect with them, you have to call out their true names and their legendary deeds. The more detailed the story you tell, the higher your chances of a successful awakening. Just then, a teenage boy steps up to the Gate of Creation, immediately sparking excited gasps from the other students. Look, it's Ling Xiao, the #1 student. I wonder what kind of power system he'll awaken. I mean, his dad's guardian spirit is the giant spirit god. He's probably gonna awaken the giant spirit god too, right? Bloodlines usually pass down. His success rate is way higher than us normal guys. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Ling Xiao walks right into the Gate of Creation without even blinking. Flashes of light swirl around him, and transport him into a mystical blue void, completely surrounded by lifeless gray statues. Some look human, some look like beasts, and others are a bizarre mix of both. Ling Xiao glances around, his eyes locking onto one specific statue. A smug, joyful smirk crosses his face. He takes a deep breath and starts chanting in a low voice. With strength to uproot mountains and an aura that dominates the world, the heaven-splitting axe stabilizes the cosmos. I, your junior Ling Xiao, respectfully summon the giant spirit god to descend. When you hear that ridiculous chant, you absolutely lose it and burst out laughing right on the spot. You're calling the giant spirit god the one with strength to uproot mountains? Well, sure, I guess. He does have the raw strength for it, but what the hell is that part about the heaven-splitting axe stabilizing the cosmos? Other than Pengu, who in their right mind would dare claim they stabilized the cosmos? He's just a lowly giant spirit god. Even if Pengu himself nodded in approval, that minor god would be too terrified to accept the title. Your eyes shift back to the massive screen. You watch as the dull, gray stone statue slowly starts shedding its outer shell, revealing its true, majestic form. But the transformation completely stops halfway through. Suddenly, a brilliant purple beam of light shoots out and absorbs directly into Ling Xiao's chest. He did it, and its purple tier potential. Director Ling truly raised an incredible son. The group of school officials instantly beam with pride, laughing and cheering. They haven't seen a student with purple tier potential in years. Just then, Ling Xiao steps back out of the Gate of Creation, a massive, arrogant grin plastered on his face. He's clearly thrilled with the result. Right after him, the second student steps up to the platform. Inside the gate, the second kid searches frantically for a long time. Finally, he stops dead in his tracks in front of an ape-like statue. You narrow your eyes at that specific statue on the giant screen. It has a savage, ferocious face. Its entire body is bound in heavy iron chains, and there's a thick, swirling mist of water vapor surrounding it. It's the great sage equal to heaven, Sun Wukong, the legendary super-tier god. That's at least a gold-tier entity. Sun Hao just hit the absolute jackpot. He's one of the few publicly known gods in all of Washa. I can't believe he actually ran into him. Oh my god, his life is set. Does he have a girlfriend yet? As you listen to the wild chatter of the crowd, your eyes narrow in deep suspicion. The great sage equal to heaven, Sun Wukong? You know him way too well. And precisely because of that, you instantly realize something is horribly wrong. The ferocious face and the iron chains? Sure, you can easily explain those. After all, he used to be a wild demon monkey, and heaven did capture him in chains. But what's with the swirling water mist around his body? Anyone who's actually read Journey to the West knows the truth. Sun Wukong is absolutely terrible in the water. Right under everyone's jealous gazes, the boy named Sun Hao finally spoke. Monkey King, born of heaven and earth, the magic golden cudgel hidden in your ear. Demons and immortals alike are your brothers. Master and disciples, the four of you bathed in Buddha's light. I, Sun Hao, humbly welcome the great sage equal to heaven, Sun Wukong. As his voice faded, the surroundings fell into a dead silence. Everyone was waiting for a miracle to happen. But the very next moment, Sun Hao's body suddenly exploded. He turned into a mist of blood and was sucked right into that ape's mouth. How did this happen? Gasps of horror rippled through the crowd. Even the school leaders leapt to their feet in absolute terror. That's not the great sage. Who on earth is this god? I've never heard of any other ape-like deities. What went wrong? Could the government's research data be completely off? In an instant, countless people started doubting the official records. But as you carefully observed that ape, another god flashed into your mind. One who roamed wildly across the 8 corners of the world. A fearsome ruler of mountains, rivers, and lakes. And one whose favorite meal was human flesh. Quick, contact the city lord and report this immediately. Another unknown god has appeared. Principal Zhao Yan shouted frantically at the director next to him. Should we still continue the awakening ceremony? The vice principal whispered nervously. Lock onto this deity, do not filter it out. Let's see if anyone can actually call out its true name. A brand new deity is a huge opportunity for all of China. Because for every single god awakened, another lantern is lit in the pantheon, and our nation's fortune will grow that much stronger. In this era, the strength of a nation's fortune dictates whether it survives or perishes. Ever since the spiritual awakening, the Chinese Empire had spent a whole century just to light up 500 deities. It didn't sound like much, but over 1 million lives had been sacrificed to make it happen. With evil gods invading from the outside, and nations tearing at each other from the inside. You had to do this to survive on the continent of divine grace. Otherwise, the day another nation overpowered you would mean total annihilation for your people. The mythology arena was designed to plunder national fortunes. The winners wouldn't just conquer land, they'd get a massive boost to their country's spiritual energy. The losers, on the other hand, would suffer drained energy, endless natural disasters, and chaos. If there were any survivors left on the stolen lands, they'd end up as slaves to be brutally tortured, or worse, used as bloody sacrifices for the gods. The mythology arena opened once a year. For the past century, all the major powers on the continent of divine grace made the exact same choice: crush the smaller surrounding nations first. It was like some unspoken agreement. Major empires rarely went out of their way to fight each other. Part of it was to build up their own strength, but mostly they were terrified of being ambushed while weak. Because in the mythology arena, a deity could only be summoned once a year. Once used, they were locked out for the rest of the year. If someone attacked you then, and you didn't have fresh gods to hold the line, your entire nation could be wiped off the map. So everyone went after the easy targets. They'd wipe out the countries with no pantheon, or those with weak mythologies first, saving their full strength for the major empires later. From what you could remember, there were only 13 countries left on the entire continent of divine grace. 7 empires and 6 vassal states. America used to be known as the greatest superpower in the world. But ironically, after the spiritual awakening, they were the very first ones to get completely wiped out. Why? Because their history was too short. They didn't even have a true mythology of their own. It didn't surprise you one bit. After all, they were just descendants of thieves and robbers. Everything they had was stolen. How could they possibly compete with nations that had thousands of years of deep-rooted culture? Meanwhile, the Japanese Empire had actually managed to develop their own pantheon by piggybacking on China's heritage. It couldn't hold a candle to the mythologies of the major powers, but in an era where everyone was struggling to survive. Only to become the powerful ones instead. Thinking about this, you can't help but feel a wave of sorrow. Other nations have their own religious beliefs, yet only the Washa Empire never paid much attention to it. As a result, many of our people have completely forgotten our own mythological figures. Otherwise, with the Washa Empire's thousands of years of deep cultural heritage, why would we ever fear these clowns? Right as these thoughts are racing through your mind, several figures suddenly fly in from a distance. Leading them is an imposing middle-aged man. Everyone bows to him in perfect unison. "Greetings, Lord City Master." The middle-aged man waves his hand, signaling them to drop the formalities. Then, he turns his head to look at the newly appeared stone statue, frowning slightly. Clearly, even with all his experience, he doesn't recognize its origins. He immediately turns to the professors standing next to him. "Have you managed to figure out the origins of this god?" "Well, according to the historical records, there are a few gods with the appearance of an ape. It's just, we need someone to test the waters." One of the old professors looks deeply conflicted. Sacrificing a few slots for trial and error isn't exactly rare. After all, which god wasn't awakened over the dead bodies of countless young men and women? As the sons and daughters of Washa, they've long been prepared to die for their country at a moment's notice. Hearing this, the city master turns and scans the crowd. A flash of deep sorrow crosses his eyes, but it vanishes just as quickly. "An unknown god has appeared today. I have 5 slots available. Is anyone willing to step up and try?" His voice isn't loud, but it rings clearly in everyone's ears. Many of the students immediately lower their heads. They all know exactly what taking a slot means. But, there are also those with unwavering eyes. Before long, someone steps forward. One after another, dozens of people step up to volunteer. The city master, Chen Xiaocheng, nods at the group with deep respect. "Step forward in the order you volunteered. Other than the first 5, the rest will act as backups. And the ones chosen aren't absolutely forced to pick the unknown god. If other god statues appear and you happen to know them well, you can choose them instead. But if no recognizable gods show up for you, then this unknown god will be your absolute last resort. Giving up is not an option. That's exactly why we need so many backup candidates." The professors step up and start briefing the chosen students on the information they've managed to dig up. Listening to them, your eyebrows furrow deeply. Because out of all their theories, not a single one is correct. That means whoever goes in and says those names is guaranteed to die. Just as the first student, Zhang Yuan, is about to enter, you suddenly raise your hand. "I think I know its origins." Chen Xiaocheng shoots you a look of pure surprise. "You know it? Lin Jingyun, have you lost your damn mind? Do you have any idea what happens if you say the wrong name? You'll die in there." Your homeroom teacher, Li Peng, yells out in a panic. He obviously can't bear to watch you throw your life away. You just smile warmly at your teacher, offering no explanation. Why would you ever joke around with your own life? As someone who has binge-read tens of thousands of web novels, you might not know every single detail about Washa's mythology, but when it comes to the famous ones, you are absolutely confident you can name them. Stepping up to the gate of creation, you give a polite bow to the leaders. Then, looking over at Zhang Yuan and the others, you flash a confident smile. "You guys don't mind if I cut in line, do you?" "Bro, this is no time for jokes. Are you really sure about this?" Zhang Yuan asks, looking at you with a deeply conflicted expression. "Just watch me," you grin, taking wide, confident strides right into the gate of creation. With a blinding flash of golden light, you suddenly find yourself standing in a bizarre space that looks just like the cosmos. Countless stars are shining all around you, and every single star represents a god statue. Some of the stars are close, while others are incredibly far away. In a flash, hundreds of them fly right up to you, transforming into stone statues right before your eyes. Aside from the ape statue you saw earlier, all the others have just newly spawned. But you don't walk straight over to the ape statue. Instead, you start inspecting the other statues with deep interest. During the awakening ritual, once a divine system is chosen, it can never be changed. And in the future, when summoning gods, you can only use powers within this specific system. Recklessly crossing boundaries will easily cause a deadly backlash. That is why, when choosing a god, people always go for the ones who wield multiple power systems. However, to the onlookers, your hesitation just made it look like you were chickening out at the last second. Whispers broke out among the students in the square, and even the school leaders were frowning in disapproval. Is this guy scared or something? Why hasn't he called out a name yet? He was acting all brave and righteous just a minute ago. I thought he actually had some skills. Turns out he's just all talk. Lord Mayor, should we? The principal was about to suggest something, but Chen Xiaocheng coldly cut him off. Wait, anyone who is willing to risk their life to awaken an unknown god deserves respect, even if they die trying. They are heroes who sacrificed themselves for the country. He would never allow anyone to interfere, and he absolutely wouldn't tolerate anyone badmouthing them. Wait, what is that? The dean next to him pointed at the screen and gasped. Hearing the commotion, everyone turned to look. On the screen, you were standing right in front of a massive pair of eyes. And inside those giant pupils, there seemed to be a figure. He had a pair of wings on his back, and 3 legs? He was holding a scroll, looking down upon all living things, with several birds flying around him. The school leaders immediately started murmuring. Could that be the god of thunder, Lei Gong? No, that's not right. Lei Gong wields the thunder hammer. But this figure is holding a scroll. Could it be that legendary deity, the heavenly lord of thunder and universal transformation? Meanwhile, Mayor Chen Xiaocheng just furrowed his brows. He felt like something was off. The national database had very little information on mythological figures, and what they had was incredibly vague. He wasn't entirely sure if it was Lei Gong or Lei Zhenzi either. But honestly, either one would be amazing news for them, because neither of those gods had been awakened yet. Having 2 unknown gods appear at the same time, that was something they hadn't seen in years. Chen Xiaocheng couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. He prayed you could pull off a miracle and awaken another god for the nation of Huaxia. What he didn't know, however, was that the moment you laid eyes on that statue, you were literally shaking with excitement, because you knew exactly who this god was. You quickly straightened your collar, bowed deeply toward the stone statue, and spoke with absolute reverence. I, Lin Jingyun, humbly welcome the Lord of the Heavenly Court, the Father of the 10 Sons, the Emperor of all demons. Your Majesty, Di Jun, please descend. The entire crowd erupted the moment you said that. Lord of the Heavenly Court? Emperor of all demons? What kind of background is that? Wait, isn't the Jade Emperor the Lord of the Heavenly Court? Who the heck is Di Jun? And what does 10 sons even mean? I know what the words mean, but put together, it makes no sense to me. Do you think he's just making it all up? But right at that moment, the dull gray color of the stone statue began to fade, revealing its true, glorious form underneath. A deep voice echoed, "To think, there is still someone in this era who remembers my name." The man let out a long sigh, and then, he looked right at you with a profound gaze. Suddenly, a massive pillar of red light shot into the sky and surged straight into your body. At the same time, Di Jun's figure vanished from the gate of creation. Red? It wasn't just the students and teachers. Even Mayor Chen Xiaocheng was so completely shocked that he leapt right out of his seat. There were only 5 known ranks for gods: green, blue, purple, gold, and red. Green was the absolute lowest, and red was the highest peak. Up until now, aside from the Papal State, no other country had ever awakened a red-tier god. But now, they finally had one. Our Huaxia Empire finally has a red-tier god. This represents the absolute pinnacle of a mythology system. The Emperor of 10,000 Demons truly deserves his title. As the red light scattered, inside the Huaxia Empire's pantheon, a bright lamp and a statue slowly materialized, standing proudly all alone in the very top row. Seeing this, the soldier guarding the pantheon was so shocked his jaw dropped wide open. Then, he frantically pounded the thunder drum. The drum sounded 3 times. This meant a new deity had emerged in Huaxia. However, just as everyone was celebrating the arrival of the new god, the drum echoed again. 4 more beats. Did I hear that right? In the Huaxia capital, an old man in a military uniform stared blankly at the secretary beside him. New gods were indeed rare, but 1 or 2 would still pop up every few years. He'd be thrilled, sure, but not enough to lose his composure. But 7 drumbeats? That had never happened before. He knew exactly what it meant better than anyone else. A god-king tier deity had appeared, the founder of an entire mythology system, a god representing the absolute peak of combat power. Our Huaxia Empire finally had one. We can finally stand tall against all our enemies. The supreme commander of the Huaxia Empire was so moved that tears welled up in his old eyes. Heaven bless our Huaxia. Quickly, find out who awakened this god. Send the Dragon Defense Army to protect them at once. Have General Long Potion go there personally. The old man was so excited he was stammering. I'll go right now, sir. The secretary spun around and bolted, clearly not daring to waste a single second. 7 beats of the thunder drum didn't just shock the higher-ups of the Huaxia Empire. They also terrified the countless spies hiding in the country. Damn it, the Huaxia Empire actually got a red-tier god. We have to move our plans up. We must assassinate this divine chosen as soon as possible. A sleazy-looking, middle-aged man from the Sakura Nation glared with pure venom in his eyes. Now, Divine Chosen was the title given to those who successfully awakened. Every Divine Chosen who successfully awakens is granted a bloodline inheritance by their deity. Through training, they gradually adapt to the bloodline in their bodies, sometimes even unlocking special talents. This also boosts their chances of successfully summoning their god later on. After all, in the mythology arena, you can't just summon whichever god you want out of thin air. It all comes down to your bloodline affinity. A successful awakening only unlocks that specific power system. When you summon later, you could randomly get any deity from within that system. If you're lucky, you'll roll the exact god you awakened, or at least one you know. But if you're unlucky and get some unknown god, forget about fighting. You might not even make it out alive. Once, someone awakened a gold-tier god, but because their bloodline affinity was so pitifully low, their god never even spawned during the arena battle. They were effortlessly squashed to death by a low-level green-tier god. It was precisely this incident that made many nations realize just how crucial bloodline affinity really is. The god you awaken sets your ceiling, but your bloodline affinity sets your floor. Even if you have a top-tier red bloodline, if your affinity is garbage, you'd actually be worse off than someone with a green bloodline but high affinity. And that's exactly why the Papal State, despite possessing a red-tier god, still hasn't dared to casually wage a divine war against neighboring powers. Without absolute certainty of summoning that red god, no one dares to let him make a move. Meanwhile, in the capital, a general radiating a hardened, iron-blooded aura was solemnly answering his phone. This was none other than General Long Potion, famously known as Huasha's #1 god of war. Understood, I'll head out right now. Hanging up the phone, Long Potion's normally unsmiling face. A proud smile spread across his face. A red-tier deity had finally appeared. Let's see who dares to mock Huasha for having no gods now. I'll head out to Kayaj City first. Get there as fast as you can, Long Potion ordered his adjutant, Fang Joshan. Suddenly, the colossal phantom of a deity with 3 heads and 6 arms materialized behind him. It was none other than the third Lotus Prince, Neza. Wind and fire wheels, Long Potion roared. 2 blazing spheres of fire ignited beneath his feet out of thin air, shooting him straight into the sky like a bolt of lightning. Meanwhile, over at Kayaj City's Awakening Square, the crowd stared at you standing before the divine statue. Their eyes shifted from bitter disdain to absolute, burning envy. A deity of this caliber, it meant they didn't even have the right to be jealous anymore. Everyone knew exactly what this meant for the Huasha Empire. City Lord Chen Xiaocheng was trembling with so much excitement, he instantly activated his own bloodline on the spot. He stood fiercely on guard in front of the Gate of Creation. At this moment, never mind the school officials around him, he wouldn't even let his own father get close. However, safely tucked inside the space of the Gate of Creation, you had no idea what was happening outside. Right now, you were busy searching for other deities. Awakening the Demon Emperor Di Jun meant that you could now access the entire power system of the ancient demon race. As long as you could call out their true names, you could awaken any demon deity you wanted. And not just demons, any god affiliated with the heavenly court was now yours to awaken. After all, Demon Emperor Di Jun was the very founder of the heavenly court, an absolute being sitting at the very peak of the Huasha mythological pyramid. Glancing around, you realized that most of them were obscure heroic spirits. There were even some minor wild gods from local folklore. That left you feeling a little disappointed. These lesser gods won't be of much help to me. Even if I claim their bloodline, it's basically useless. Forget it, I might as well go awaken that one. With that thought, you slowly walked over to a statue shaped like an ape. Outside, the crowd watching the screens completely froze. What is he doing? Don't tell me he's trying to awaken that unknown god? Stop, Lin Jingyun, don't do something stupid. We're doomed. We just found someone chosen by a red-tier deity. Is he really going to throw his life away like this? But of course, their frantic screams couldn't reach your ears. In fact, even if you had heard them, you wouldn't have cared. The chance to call upon a true name was incredibly rare. Besides this initial awakening phase where you could choose freely, your only option later would be fighting in the mythological arena. There was no way you were going to pass up a golden opportunity like this. After all, for every deity you successfully awakened, you would gain an entirely new inheritance. Especially since the one standing right in front of you was considered a true overlord of the primordial era. If you missed out on him now, Who knows how long you'd have to wait for him to spawn again? Meanwhile, Chen Xiaocheng, still fiercely guarding the area, heard the crowd's panicked screams and couldn't help but look back. The sight nearly scared his soul right out of his body. "No, don't do it," Chen Xiaocheng screamed in sheer terror. "What do you mean, don't? Where's the chosen one with the red-tier deity?" A blazing streak of fire suddenly tore through the horizon. Long Potion's booming voice arrived before he even did, but Chen Xiaocheng completely ignored him. Instead, he was staring blankly at the projection screen. At that exact moment, he genuinely wished he could take the boy's place and die for him. Just so the kid wouldn't risk his life awakening that unknown god. Seeing Chen Xiaocheng ignore him, Long Potion furrowed his brow. He followed the city lord's gaze, only to see a young man standing directly in front of an ape statue. The boy bowed deeply to the statue and began his chant. A neck extending 100 feet, strength surpassing 9 divine elephants, with a cyan body and a snow-white head, and piercing, fiery golden eyes. I, your junior Lin Jingyun, humbly welcome the descent of the ancient water god. Wujiki, the moment your words echoed out, everyone held their breath, their eyes glued to you. They were terrified you would explode into a mist of blood at any second. Slowly, the lifeless gray statue began to shed its stone shell. A streak of golden light shot up into the sky, and then plunged straight into your body. The stone statue revealed its true form. It was the legendary ape with a blue body and a white head. Its tightly shut eyes snapped open, revealing a pair of glowing, golden irises. Wujiki stared down at you. "Who dares to summon me?" The crowd in the plaza went absolutely wild. "Oh my god, Lin, I want to have your babies." Even Chen Xiaocheng couldn't help but pump his fist in the air when he saw it. It worked. "Oh, great god of water. Foreign scum are coveting our homeland. Those alien, false gods have invaded our territory time and time again. But our gods have remained silent. We, your descendants, have failed you. We couldn't bring our gods back. I beg you, great god of water, please protect our land and save us all." You finished speaking and bowed deeply before him. "An alien false god? Is this the one you're talking about?" Wujiki let out a cold sneer. Golden light shot from his eyes, piercing through the gate of creation and locking onto someone in the crowd outside. The target was a teacher. The moment Wujiki's fiery golden gaze hit him, a shadowy phantom of a deity instantly materialized behind him. A tanuki. You frowned the moment you saw that deity's true form. You had zero memory of a god like that in Chinese history. Could it be some rogue spirit? Listen up, kid, since you've earned the Demon Emperor's approval. Let's see if you're actually worthy of being the Demon Clan's representative in the human realm. A bloodthirsty, savage grin spread across Wujiki's face. How'd I prove it? You never expected him to say something like that. Didn't you just say those alien false gods were invading? I'm going to lend you my power right now. Go, and kill him with your own hands. Prove to me that you're not just some useless trash who's all talk. Wujiki's booming voice echoed clearly, reaching everyone in the crowd. Everyone exchanged confused glances, completely clueless about what was going on. What kind of god is this? He actually wants his chosen one to murder someone? Do you always have to pass a test to awaken a high-tier deity? And what did they mean by alien false god? Why is everyone staring at Mr. Wang? The crowd burst into a frenzy of whispers. Meanwhile, your heart was pounding out of your chest. You understood exactly what Wujiki meant. He was saying that the deity behind that teacher was one of those alien false gods. How the hell could that be possible? The guy was a teacher at the school. Do you have the guts, or not? A mocking smirk twisted across Wujiki's face. Are you telling the truth, great god of water? You stared intensely at Wujiki. Are you questioning me? Wujiki flared up, clearly agitated. I wouldn't dare, you stammered, completely suffocated by the terrifying aura radiating from his body. You gasped for air and quickly bowed your head. That is no god of our land. Just kill him and be done with it. Wujiki stated coldly, seeing your terrified reaction. Getting the confirmation you needed, you slowly lifted your head. You turned and marched aggressively outside. The principal was sweating bullets. One of them was his own subordinate, and the other was the rising hope of the nation. He didn't want to see either of them die, especially not with the terrifying label of an alien false god. Didn't that mean the man was a spy? The very subordinate he had worked so hard to mentor was a spy? If it was just a misunderstanding, fine. But if it was true, even killing himself wouldn't be enough to calm the outrage of the public. And it wasn't just him. Even Chen Xiaocheng and Long Potion wore grim, heavy expressions. For a moment, they had absolutely no idea who to trust. After all, so much of their mythological history had been wiped out. They had no way of knowing if the deity standing behind Mr. Wang truly belonged to their land or not. The only possible way to verify his identity was through the mythic arena. Chen Xiaocheng hesitated for a moment. Long Potion clearly understood what he meant. Whether the guy was a spy or not, they couldn't possibly open the mythological arena just for him. Not only was the opportunity incredibly rare, but you had also just awakened. They couldn't take that risk. So, this battle would have to be fought in private. What is the meaning of this? Are you suspecting me of being a spy? Even though I, Wang Weiguo, might not be the most talented. I've worked my heart out at this school for years, serving the country and the people. I would rather die than bear the filthy name of a spy. Wang Weiguo's face twisted with rage. Is that so? You slowly walked out of the gate of fortune, your eyes locked dead onto him. Lin Jingyun, you may be a genius, but that doesn't give you the right to drag my name through the mud. If you want to kill me just to test your strength, fine, I have nothing to say. Dying for my country is an honorable end, but if you're trying to pin the label of a spy on me and force me to die in disgrace, I won't accept it. Wang Weiguo shouted as he marched straight toward you. He looked like he was ready for a full-on confrontation. However, right when he was less than 5 meters away, his expression suddenly turned completely psychotic. With my blood, I opened the mythological arena. The moment he screamed those words, a blinding ray of golden light crashed down onto your body. The Sakura Empire has initiated a mythological arena battle against the Huaxia Empire. Challenger, Tanaka Jiro. Target, Lin Jingyun. You bastard, what did you just do? Long Potion and Chen Xiaocheng, who were standing closest to him, lunged forward the second they heard his voice, but it was obviously too late. They never would have guessed that the seemingly righteous Mr. Wang would not only launch a sneak attack, but actually had the authority to open the mythological arena. Ha ha ha, you bunch of idiots, I was planning on dealing with you all in a few days. Who knew you'd get so lucky and actually awaken a red-tier divine resonance? Too bad you had to run into me. At least my 10+ years of deep cover didn't go to waste. Tanaka Jiro burst into a maniacal fit of laughter. Just a newly awakened divine chosen. Now that he had dragged you into the mythological arena, your death was only a matter of time. So, you're a rat from the Sakura Empire. No wonder you managed to hide in plain sight for so long, you remarked calmly. After all, the Sakura Empire's mythological system was originally just an offshoot of Huaxia's mythology. It made perfect sense why no one ever noticed his true identity. Well, it's too late for realizations now. You are destined to die right here, right now. And the Huaxia Empire is destined to belong to our great Sakura nation. Tanaka Jiro was incredibly smug. His people had already been planning to make their move against Huaxia this year anyway. He never expected to score such a massive bonus right before the invasion began. Hey, the cherry blossoms back in your hometown should be blooming right about now, shouldn't they? You asked him out of nowhere. Cherry blossoms bloom in March. It's October right now. What, are you so scared you lost your mind? You don't even have basic common sense? Tanaka Jiro sneered mockingly. Oh, good. That means it won't affect our plans to march on Tokyo and enjoy the cherry blossoms next year. You suddenly flashed a wicked grin. If this guy had tried to assassinate you in private, you might not have stood a chance. But the idiot just had to choose the mythological arena, a place where victory was decided by a clash of the gods. Talk about digging your own grave. When heaven sends disasters, you can survive, but when you bring them upon yourself, you're just dead meat. Baka, you're on death's door and you still dare to run your mouth? Tanaka Jiro roared, completely enraged. You bunch of backstabbing, ancestor-betraying animals. Who gave you the nerve to come to Huaxia and act so damn arrogant? You really think your bullshit, great gods, mean a damn thing here? Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson. In front of the true gods of Huaxia, your so-called gods aren't even fit to shine our shoes. Your expression was absolutely freezing. Your tone was dripping with absolute disgust and contempt. When Tanaka Jiro saw the look on your face, for some reason, a faint sense of dread crept into my heart. You sharp-tongued brat, once the divine war begins, I will personally chop off your head and sacrifice it to the gods. Right at that moment, a magnificent arena emerged from the void, and both you and Jiro Tanaka were sucked right into it. Welcome to the Arena of the Gods. I am Bobby, your referee and host. Will the two great empires please get ready, and register the names of your other 4 contestants? The matches will begin in 1 hour. In the center of the arena, a burly, bald man was making exaggerated gestures, and you couldn't help but look at him curiously. This coliseum-like structure had a central area about the size of a football field. It was surrounded by densely packed seats, and figures were already starting to appear one after another. At the same time, a screen popped up right in front of you. Rules of the Arena of the Gods. Rule 1. 5 divine champions will be refreshed for every single battle. You may choose any one of them to call forth into battle. Rule 2. Any divine champion who has appeared can only fight once. The winner lives, and the loser dies. Rule 3. Best 3 out of 5. The ultimate winner can demand compensation from the loser. Meanwhile, the Washa Empire was already in a complete uproar. Inside the Kyoto capital, a group of elders was arguing endlessly. What the hell is Chen Shou-cheng even doing? How could he let a divine favored with the right to open the arena become a teacher? And they even managed to lock onto a red-tier divine favored. Old Zhang, don't be so furious. You can't blame him for this kind of thing. Wasn't Long Po Tien right there too? He couldn't stop it either. The other side was clearly prepared for this. This is just a coincidence. They've basically become a regional overlord. With our 2 countries being so close, a divine war was bound to happen sooner or later. That might be true, but you all know full well how strong the Sakura Empire really is. Their mythological inheritance is incredibly complete. If they weren't just unlucky and failed to roll a high-tier divine card, they probably would have attacked us a long time ago. If we have to fight, then let's fight. Are you saying we're actually scared of them? Roared an old general with his chest covered in medals. Seeing the argument below getting more and more heated, the lead elder frowned slightly and scolded softly. Silence. Although his voice wasn't loud, it was filled with unquestionable authority. The conference room instantly fell dead silent. What we are discussing right now is who to send into battle. Stop talking about anything unrelated to this. The elder's gaze swept across the crowd. The Sakura Empire is no pushover. Let me go. Winning 1 match against them shouldn't be a big deal. Long Po Tien spoke up first. I'll go too. We'll aim for a 3-win streak, and give them absolutely no chance to retaliate. Chen Shou-cheng also stood up. Count me in too. A middle-aged man stood up. Nonsense. Wang Zhenguo glared at the 3 of them and scolded. You 3 are the top fighters of our nation. If all of you step in this time, even if we beat them, then what? Who will handle the next crisis? Do you really think the other 5 great empires are just a bunch of pushovers? Hearing this, the 3 of them lowered their heads in shame. Just now, they were only thinking about dealing with the Sakura Empire, but completely ignored the other 5 empires. A god can only participate in the mythical arena once a year. If they all fought, even if they won, they might not be able to defend their territory afterwards. The other empires wouldn't mind kicking them while they were down when they were at their weakest. But if they didn't step in, there was no guarantee they could win against the Sakura Empire. The absolute best strategy is to send out fighters who are just 1 step ahead of the enemy. That way, it won't mess up the rest of the board. But man, that's much easier said than done. Actually doing it is way too hard. Everyone's eyes locked onto Wang Zhenguo at the head of the table. The old veteran, famously hailed as the god of war, stared at the roster, completely at a loss. With exactly 5 minutes left on the clock, he finally picked up his pen. He quickly scribbled down 5 names, and dropped the paper into the tray right in front of him. The roster vanished in a flash. Registration was officially closed. Let's move. Wang Zhenguo let out a heavy sigh, and his body suddenly vanished. A split second later, the group of elders materialized in the seating area of the Washa faction. A loud bell echoed through the arena, signaling that preparation time was up. The combat rosters from both major empires have been submitted. Let's see who made the cut. The announcer, Bobby, declared with genuine curiosity. The 5 fighters representing the Washa Empire are Lin Jingyun, Long Potion, Chen Jing, Zhao Kaixuan, and Xie Changfeng. As Bobby called out those names, the entire Washa crowd absolutely erupted. Out of these 5 people, aside from you, the rest are all legendary household names. Especially Long Potion and Zhao Kaixuan. Those 2 are the twin gods of war of the Washa Empire. Both of them are the chosen of golden tier deities. And the other two were also chosen of purple tier gods,